don't often talk about new television or more mainstream television on this channel, much less about streaming services like Netflix or Amazon Prime or any of the rest of them. A lot of the time, or most of the time, these paranormal shows are much ado about nothing. There's creaks and groans, there's dubious electronic equipment, and there's even more dubious ghost hunters who look like they just stepped out of Blink-182 in the 1990s. But this one on Netflix caught my eye because I saw that James Wan was involved. James Wan, of course, is the guy behind Saw, Dead Silence, The Conjuring, and so on and so forth, all those Annabelle movies as well. One of the masters, I guess, of spiritual or ghostly horror. And Netflix's True Haunting is 6 episodes, and it's a little unusual in that the first 4 episodes cover one haunting, and the next 2 episodes cover a completely different haunting. So quite different to other shows of this ilk. So the first story is about a kid who looks like a cross between Roger Cobb from the Sean S. Cunningham movie House, The Greatest American Hero, and Scott Baio's mate from Zapped. But actually, I think 2 of those guys are the same person, so it's probably a cross between The Greatest American Hero and Zapped, what this guy looks like. So anyway, the guy that looks like the Greatest American Hero is a college student, and he keeps seeing a tall, creepy ghost that looks a lot like The Undertaker from WWF in his college dorm. But naturally, no one believes him, and he soon becomes the laughing stock of the school. I think they're calling him Ghost Boy or something like that. Until he does the spiritual equivalent of pretty much saging the entire dorm room and unwittingly unleashes the spectre on the rest of the school. So they're not laughing for long. So this allegedly true ghost encounter is larger in scope than most, with the Greatest American Hero's friends finding themselves under attack from something none of them understand. Mainly because ghost adventures didn't exist in the early 80s when this allegedly happened, so no one really had anything to draw on to describe their own experiences. But anyway, it's up to the Greatest American Hero lookalike and his sidekick to uncover the truth behind this spectral mystery in Erie Lodge, or the Erie Lodge, I can't remember which it was. So all of that unfolds over 4 episodes, but it does fly by surprisingly quickly and is surprisingly entertaining in this age of low attention spans. The 5th and 6th episodes, though, are where this series really shifts up a gear, and I preferred the 5th and 6th episodes where it turns into an Amityville horror-style story. You know the type. Young family buys a house in a really good neighbourhood for a song, for reasons that the realtor can't explain, and then they find themselves under siege from a malevolent force that seems quite perturbed by their renovations. So the couple investigate the history of the house along with mediums and ghost hunters as it all violently escalates. And like all of the best haunted house stories, this one has a fair dose of financial horror, preventing the family from fleeing, and often proving as horrifying as the haunting itself. I think anyone with a mortgage is going to sympathise reasonably closely with this family, or the family in this story. Basically, having a mortgage can be as terrifying as having a ghost sometimes if you have bought a money pit that's 100 years old. And like the first story, this 2-episode finale of True Haunting wraps up with a pretty satisfying conclusion, I reckon. And a conclusion similar to the Amityville Horror, but it does wrap everything up nicely in a bow. So I have to say that this series, Netflix's True Haunting, does succeed where others dismally fail. Usually these kinds of shows, whether they're about hauntings or cryptids or anything under the paranormal sun, do fail dismally. They set up for a payoff that never actually materialises and invariably leaves the viewer disappointed and another hour time poorer. And even though this is a bit of a docudrama, it does feel more like 2 self-contained ghost movies from James Wan, a la The Conjuring or The Nun or Annabelle, but probably a bit more satisfying than those movies. There's even the obligatory cameo from Ed and Lorraine Warren, which basically is about them telling them to go help themselves. Good luck with that. And I reckon much of the success of this series clearly comes from James Wan. The editing here is a lot tighter than your usual paranormal series. The reenactments are more professional than your usual paranormal series. And the talking head interviews with the actual people are a bit more restrained, a bit more plausible, at least in the way they're carrying themselves. So all in all, I reckon Netflix's True Haunting is a series that's worth checking out, even if you don't normally like these paranormal series. It doesn't cheaply get by on jump scares and overacting and basically no payoff at the end like a lot of these series do. It pretty much is, as I said, it's a lot more like two self-contained movies, like two Conjuring movies or two Annabelle movies or whatever else. And clearly it is the influence of James Wan that's helped this show sort of elevate itself beyond ghost adventures or ghost hunters or hunting Bigfoot or any of those sort of shows. Those shows just sort of waffle along for an hour with no real resolution. And you really do feel like you've wasted an hour of your time, quite like going out and searching for Bigfoot yourself. So, yeah, something a little bit different for this upload. I don't normally talk about new TV or Netflix or anything like that, but this one did strike a chord with me, so I thought some of you may be interested. And if you're enjoying the content on the channel, please let me know how my YouTube driving is by liking, sharing, or subscribing, commenting, all that jazz, telling your friends, telling a loved one, telling someone you hate, at least if they're into this sort of thing. I upload fairly regularly to this channel as inspiration strikes, as it did with this video. Usually it's film reviews or biographies of horror, cult, and exploitation film luminaries. So always something a little bit different, hopefully, and I've been dipping my toe in the water of these TV terrors, looking back at a few of these, and occasionally a new one like this one. So I hope you have a great rest of the day, rest of the evening, rest of the morning, whenever you're watching. And I look forward to seeing you all next time. Take it easy.